I would call it a fair bet, but it's actually the Minnesota Vikings win total over. The win total has already moved up. And here's the thing, like, I know that we don't have Kirk Cousins anymore. I get that. I know that Danielle Hunter left. But this team also, I think the defense could be better. Even better with Brian Flores still leading the ship. You add Dallas Turner. You add Andrew Van Ginkel. You add Jonathan Greenard. And then you add a very prolific, when healthy, running back in Aaron Jones. If J.J. McCarthy is even like middle of the road good, they could easily win 7 games because they're not going to have a tough schedule. But also, think about this. Minnesota won 7 games last year with 4 different quarterbacks. So it's not a scenario where it's impossible for them to get to 7 games. Do you know how ass you have to be to win only 6 games? I think maybe we're not sleeping on Minnesota. I just think maybe they're getting stepped on a little too crazy.
If you had to give like a percentage of job security for O'Connell this year.
Oh, I think it's like very high.
He's
Very
good.
high.
He's fine.
But he's
fine.
a wizard. That's another.
he is.
Yeah.
That's another reason. So you end up with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and T.J. Hawkinson, along with Aaron Jones, who can catch balls out of the backfield. That right there is a prolific offense. And if the defense is pretty good, really it's just J.J. We have no idea about J.J., but if we know one thing about Kevin O'Connell, and what he can do is he was working with Jared Goff for a while, so he knows how to like cover up for the inconsistencies and the deficiencies of a quarterback. So he's going to find a way to put JJ in a spot that makes him the most comfortable. I know you're starting to get to you, aren't you?
No, what I was going to say is the disrespect for Sam Darnold, Trysta, not even mentioning the potential that he could be the starting quarterback.
Even Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold,
fine.
this could be his moment with Kevin O'Connell.
Same. I mean, either way, like whoever is the starting quarterback, I'm going to be fine to roll with. But I think you have Kevin O'Connell, you have Brian Flores, 2 elite guys at their skill set. And then you add extra guys on the defense that I think are very good, even though you lose Danielle Hunter. And then you add Aaron Jones. Let's be honest, like they haven't had a running back that was worth anything for 3 years now. Like you've been running on the ghost and the like fumes of Dalvin Cook, and you had guys behind him who were getting death threats on Twitter because they were so ass, and Alexander Madison. Like now that you have a legit running back who's got tread on the tires, I don't know, 7 wins. I kind of like it. I'm going to place it.
The only thing you have to be worried about is Aaron Jones playing a full season.
Totally.
That's the one question. I mean, he only played 11 last year, but 17 in 2022, 15 in 21, 14 in 20.
I think it's the LaFleur effect, too. I think
Yeah.
he likes to run his running backs into the ground.
Oh, yes, yes.
So I'm optimistic.
When we look at Connor McDavid early in the series to where we are now, is it more of a mental thing that's kind of changed that with just the more of the production from him, obviously a goal and 4 points 2 games ago, or has there been some maybe more intricate strategy or something that's changed on the ice that's allowed him to be more productive?
Well, let me push back on the Conn Smythe betting for a second, because I don't think it's that people think the Oilers are going to win the series. In fact, the Oilers aren't the favorite to win the series. They're still plus money to win the series.
Right.
What's changed is that everybody thinks McDavid's going to win the Conn Smythe, win or lose. And I wrote about that on ESPN after Game 4. I thought he had already built the case to win MVP, win or lose. Because don't forget, it's MVP for the playoffs, not just for the final in the NHL. And that was before he went out and had another 4-point game. So I think everyone knows at this point, without there being a clear-cut candidate on the Florida side, it's probably McDavid's MVP to win or lose, and he'll be the 6th player in NHL history to win it in a losing effort if the Oilers don't win. But to answer your question though, like what's changed is that he's just kind of found another gear. I think that he's found ways to get through what the Panthers were doing defensively early in the series and then trying to defend them with a 5-man unit. And the other thing that's happened, too, in the last couple games is that the Oilers' power play, which has really been their bread and butter offensively, has come to life. They have power play goals in both of the wins that they have in this series, and McDavid obviously is a huge part of that.
Well, let me ask you this then. Do you think that even if the Oilers do lose this series, and let's say it's Game 6 tomorrow night, can Connor McDavid still win the Conn Smythe?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I think he's got it in the bag. Now, I say that from having conversations with some of the voters here on the ground. I'm in Edmonton for the game, and I know there's 18 people that voted on the award, and I've definitely had either cigars or beers with some of them. And and I think the notion is that this thing has gone far enough into the series, and he's been so good that it's going to be him win or lose, and that's kind of where the money's gone. And again, like, it's not simply just what he's done in the final, and it's not simply just like some of the heroics he's had. This guy right now has the fourth highest point total of anybody in NHL history in an individual postseason. He's 5 points away from tying Wayne Gretzky for the most points anyone has ever scored in a playoff with 7-game series. So, like, that's the historical context. People don't like rewarding guys on losing teams. It hasn't happened since 2003. And it's only happened once with a non-goalie. So it would take us a remarkable record-setting run to do it, and I think that Connor's gotten that even without them winning the Cup.
We also know the Yankees are always active at every trade deadline. I assume that's probably going to be the same way again, and if so, what are they going to be looking for come trade deadline?
Well, I'll tell you, I thought one of the internal answers everybody did was that Jason Dominguez was going to be thrust into this lineup if and when somebody else got hurt. I even proposed to Sal the other day before I knew about Dominguez, and for those who might not know, he's out 2 months with that intercostal, that oblique, which is such it's probably the worst thing you could have as a hitter outside of like a torn ACL or a ruptured Achilles. You can't do any T work. It's basically a lost season at this point for Jason. But what I thought may have been an internal option was, all right, you got Verdugo, you got Judge, you got Soto. You have the first base situation that is a mess. Even with Rizzo, it was a mess. And, I don't know if the kid's going to hit. I hope he does, right? But you don't know. DJ's washed, as I said. I thought maybe there was a way to experiment and try to finesse it like, all right, maybe Verdugo plays a little first base, or maybe Judge plays a little first. All you have to – I'm not asking you to be Don Mattingly or Keith Hernandez. Can you catch a throw from across the diamond? And do you just have at least a few of the requisite athletic traits to be average at first base? And I think Soto does. I think Verdugo does. I know Judge does. And I think that Dominguez does. So, but with Dominguez down, that complicates it. They've got to make a trade. I fended off the voices who were not believers in Clay Holmes. And I'm like, this guy's good. You know what? I don't think he can be a closer for a World Series team. Doesn't strike enough guys out. There's too many guys on base, too much traffic. That's a problem in October. So you probably need to get a gas arm, high leverage late, and then put Clay Holmes in the 8th inning. You need to resolve first base. And personally, I think they got to resolve catcher. I mean, because the Orioles are not the only team to exploit the issue throwing guys out. The Red Sox stole 9 bases on Sunday Night Baseball. The whole world saw it. Now you can resolve that a little bit by varying. I was trying to describe this on the air without a visual. So if it's not like the Yankee catchers have such an inferior arm, it's also partly on the pitcher. So you could quick pitch, you could go to the belt, you could hold it for 3 or 4 seconds to get the timing. There's ways to combat that from a minutia baseball point of view that they'll figure out. But if they don't figure it out, that's a massive problem. So I think that there's even third base. I mean, if you could at least fix first base, then you could get away with DJ and Cabrera at third. If you don't fix first base and you've got DJ and Cabrera, that's not good enough to win.